My name is Linda. I'm 65 years old, and if you ask anyone in my neighborhood, they'll tell you I've always had busy hands. I don't sit still well. I knit, I sew, I paint little details on old mason jars and turn them into vases. I've always believed the best gift is the one you make yourself. For years, whenever birthdays or holidays came around, I would spend evenings at my kitchen table, working under the warm glow of the lamp Frank installed decades ago. My husband, quiet, practical, used to tease me gently. Linda, you could just buy something from the store. I'd smile and answer the same way every time. Anyone can buy something, Frank. Handmade means you thought about the person while you made it. Frank passed away 5 years ago, but I never stopped making gifts. It was my way of staying close to family, of keeping a little piece of myself in their homes. A scarf for my daughter Rebecca when the winters turned sharp. A quilt for my son Michael when he and his wife bought their first house. And always something special for Grace, my only granddaughter. Grace is 13 now, in that age where she is caught between childhood and the world she wants to rush into. She used to sit by me when she was younger, helping wind yarn into balls, asking 1,000 questions. Grandma, why do you do this? Why don't you just buy me toys? And I'd laugh, kiss her forehead and say, because love doesn't come with a price tag. This year, Grace's birthday was coming up. Rebecca wanted to host a big family gathering, complete with decorations and cake. I decided to make Grace a delicate beaded bracelet, each bead chosen with care, each knot tied with love. I told myself, she'll see how much thought went into it. She'll know it came from my heart. I couldn't have imagined that the gift I thought would bring us closer would be the very thing that drove the deepest wedge between us. The living room was filled with chatter, balloons taped to the walls, and the smell of chocolate cake drifting in from the kitchen. Rebecca had invited nearly the whole family and a few of Grace's friends from school. I sat near the corner, my gift wrapped carefully in soft blue paper tied with a ribbon I'd saved from Frank's last birthday. My hands trembled a little as I placed it on the gift table. When the time came, Grace sat in the middle of the room, ripping open boxes and bags. Perfume sets, shiny sneakers, a brand new phone case. Laughter and squeals filled the air. Then Rebecca handed her my box. This one's from Grandma. I leaned forward slightly, heart beating faster. Grace tore the paper, pulled out the bracelet I had spent nights making. Tiny beads shimmered in the light, each color chosen to match her favorite outfits. For a moment she just stared. Then she let out a sharp laugh. This looks so cheap. The room fell silent for a heartbeat. Then someone chuckled, then another, until laughter spread around like wildfire. Even Rebecca gave a little shrug, whispering, Grace, but not stopping her. My face burned. I tried to speak. Sweetheart, I made it for you. Grace rolled her eyes. Well, you didn't have to. She dropped the bracelet back into the box like it was nothing. The laughter stung worse than her words. I forced a small smile, swallowing the lump in my throat, but inside, something cracked. What was once my way of showing love had just been turned into a joke, and no one, not even my own daughter, defended me. I reached for the bracelet, my voice softer than I wanted it to be. Grace, I made that for you. Every bead, every knot. It's not cheap. It's love. The room grew still again, eyes darting between me and her. For a moment, I hoped she'd blush, apologize, take it back. Instead, Grace shrugged. Grandma, I just don't want stuff like that. Nobody wears handmade. Laughter bubbled again from the back of the room. A few of her friends whispered to each other, hiding their grins. I felt heat rise to my cheeks. I looked to Rebecca, silently begging for her to step in. She crossed her arms and said lightly, almost dismissive, Oh, Mom, don't be so sensitive. She's just a teenager. They don't mean half the things they say. I turned to her. Rebecca, she said it was cheap. Everyone laughed. Rebecca sighed, exasperated. It was a joke. Don't make this into a big scene. I sat back in my chair, my hands clasped tightly in my lap to keep them from shaking. My granddaughter had just embarrassed me in front of everyone, and my own daughter brushed it aside like I was the problem. The laughter resumed, the party carried on, but I felt like I'd vanished, like my presence in that room was nothing more than a punchline. When the cake had been cut and the guests were scattering, I slipped into the hallway to fetch my coat. The box with the bracelet sat on the counter, untouched. I paused when I heard Grace's voice drifting from the kitchen. Can you believe she actually gave me this? I mean, look at it. It's like something from a dollar store. Her friends giggled. One of them said, "My grandma just gives me money. At least I can use that." Rebecca's voice followed, low but sharp enough to slice through me. She's always been like this, thinking homemade stuff is special. Don't mind her, just smile next time, Grace. It's easier. My chest tightened. Not only had Grace mocked me, but my own daughter had joined in, reducing my gift, my love, to a source of embarrassment. Later, as I walked past the trash bin by the back door, I froze. The bracelet box lay inside, half buried under paper plates and plastic forks. The beads I had strung with trembling hands glinted faintly under the porch light. I reached for it, then stopped. My fingers hovered over the box, but I pulled back. The shame of digging my own gift out of the garbage cut deeper than leaving it there. In that moment, I realized this wasn't a slip of the tongue, a careless laugh. This was a choice. They had chosen to see me as less. That night, back in my quiet house, the silence pressed against me. The chair at the kitchen table felt colder than usual, the lamplight harsher. I set my empty teacup down and stared at my hands. They were the same hands that once braided Rebecca's hair before school, the same hands that stitched her dresses when money was tight. Now those hands had made something that my granddaughter tossed aside like garbage. I whispered to myself, maybe I don't belong anymore. I replayed the party in my head, the laughter, the way Rebecca brushed me off, Grace's smirk. Each memory stung like salt in an open wound. I opened the cabinet where I kept my craft supplies. Yarn, beads, ribbons, fabric neatly stacked from years of habit. For the first time, instead of feeling joy, I felt shame. My chest ached with the thought, was all of this just foolishness? I sat there for hours, the house echoing with ghosts of better times. Frank's chuckle, Grace's childish giggles when she used to help me cut ribbons. Those echoes only made the present sharper. That night, I didn't sleep. I lay awake staring at the ceiling, fighting the feeling that I had become invisible in the very family I once held together. 2 mornings later, I carried a small box of scarves and trinkets to the church donation bin. My steps were heavy, but I told myself I was clearing space, moving on. As I set the box down, Mrs. Thompson from across the street walked by. She peered inside. "Linda, did you make these?" I nodded, embarrassed. "Just old things. They weren't wanted." She lifted one scarf, her fingers brushing the neat stitches. "Are you kidding? People pay good money for work like this. Look at the detail." I blinked. "You think so?" She laughed. "Think so? My daughter spends half her paycheck on handmade jewelry from little shops online. Yours is better. Why are you giving it away?" I didn't have an answer. Shame mixed with a strange flicker of pride. Later that afternoon, I stopped by the local craft store for the thread. The cashier, a young woman, noticed the bracelet I wore, one I had made years ago. "That's gorgeous. Where'd you get it?" she asked. "I made it." Her eyes widened. "You should sell those. Seriously, people love unique pieces." That night, I sat at my kitchen table, the same lamp glowing above me. Only this time, I didn't feel shame. I felt possibility. For the first time since that humiliating party, my hands didn't tremble, they worked. And as each bead slid into place, I realized the problem wasn't that my work was worthless. The problem was that I gave it to people who refused to see its worth. The next morning, I opened my laptop, hands hovering over the keyboard. I hadn't sold a thing online in my life, but Mrs. Thompson's words echoed in my head. People pay good money for this. I took photos of a few bracelets and scarves, laid out carefully on the old oak table Frank had built. The stitches, the beads, the colors, they looked different through the camera lens. Not cheap, not silly, beautiful. I uploaded them to a small online marketplace, typing a simple description, "Handmade with love." I didn't expect much. Maybe one sale, maybe none. By evening, there was a notification. Then another. Within 2 days, 3 orders came in. Strangers, not family, not friends, wanted what I had made. I wrapped each package carefully, sliding in a handwritten note. Thank you for valuing something made by hand. On Saturday, Mrs. Thompson invited me to set up a small table at the farmer's market. I hesitated, but she insisted. Just bring a few things, you'll see. That morning, under the striped canopy, I laid out my work. Passers-by stopped, picked things up, asked questions. A young woman bought 2 bracelets. An older man bought a quilt, saying it reminded him of his mother's. By noon, half my table was empty. My heart raced, not with shame, but with pride. For the first time in years, I wasn't invisible. People saw me. People saw the worth in what my own family had thrown away. Within a month, my little online shop had more orders than I could handle alone. Word spread from the market. Neighbors told neighbors. Customers posted photos of my work. I decided to give it a name. Linda's Hands. Simple, honest. The farmer's market became a regular Saturday routine. Each week, more people stopped by. Some came just to see what new designs I had. One woman brought her daughter, saying she wanted to meet the lady who makes the bracelets everyone at school is wearing. I smiled politely, but inside, I felt something shift. The same beads Grace had mocked were now something girls her age actually wanted. Soon, a small boutique owner approached me. Would you be interested in selling your pieces in my shop? Local, handmade. It's exactly what my customers look for. I said yes. At home, my kitchen turned into a workshop. Threads, beads, fabric filled every corner. The house hummed with purpose again. For the first time since Frank passed, I felt alive, not surviving but building. Rebecca called once, asking if I was keeping busy. I kept my answer short. She didn't need to know yet, not until the right moment. Because this wasn't just about making bracelets anymore. This was about reclaiming the dignity they had stripped from me, and when the time came, they'd see exactly how much those cheap hands were worth. It happened one Saturday afternoon at the market. My table was busy, customers leaning over to try on bracelets, a little girl twirling one of my scarves in her hands. Then I saw them, Rebecca and Grace, walking toward me. Rebecca's arms were crossed, Grace scrolling on her phone, barely looking up. Rebecca stopped at the edge of the table, her eyes scanning the display. Mom, what is all this? I smiled. This is Linda's Hands, my shop. Grace finally looked up. Her eyes widened when she saw the line of bracelets, almost identical to the one she had tossed away. Only now, customers were crowding to buy them. One woman turned to Grace without realizing. Aren't these beautiful? I bought one last week and my daughter begged me for another. Grace's face flushed red. She shoved her phone into her pocket. Rebecca's tone sharpened. So you've been selling these like some kind of business? Yes, I answered evenly. People value what I make. They see worth in it, even if my own family didn't. Grace muttered, It was just a joke, Grandma. I held her gaze. A joke that told me exactly how you see me. Rebecca shifted uncomfortably as more customers leaned in, asking about prices. She tugged Grace's arm. We should go. But before leaving, Rebecca whispered, low enough only for me. This isn't going to last, Mom. Don't fool yourself. I straightened my shoulders, handing a bracelet to a smiling customer. We'll see about that. The following week, the boutique owner who had been carrying my pieces called me. Linda, a local magazine wants to feature your work in their Mothers Who Create issue. They love the story of a grandmother turning handmade crafts into something thriving. I nearly dropped the phone. A magazine? About me? She laughed. About your work, yes. They'll do photos and interview, the whole thing. The article came out 2 weeks later. My picture sat on the front page of the lifestyle section. Me at the market table, hands busy with beads, a warm smile on my face. The headline read, From Grandma's Gift to Local Treasure, Linda's Hands Inspires Community. Orders exploded. My inbox overflowed with messages from customers, boutique owners, even a regional craft fair organizer. Suddenly, I wasn't just keeping busy. I was building something real. Rebecca saw it, of course. She called, her voice clipped. Mom, I saw the article. You should have told us. Why? I asked calmly. You laughed when Grace threw away my work. Why would you care now? Her silence was sharp. Then she muttered, It just would have been nice to know. But I could hear the edge in her tone, not pride, resentment. Meanwhile, Grace couldn't avoid the whispers at school. Her friends had seen the article too. Some of them even wore my bracelets proudly. She had to watch my name become something admired while she'd been the first to call it cheap. For the first time in a long time, the shame wasn't mine to carry anymore. The invitation came in the mail, a formal envelope with Rebecca's handwriting on the front. Inside was a card. Family dinner at our house. Please come, Mom. I almost laughed. 3 months ago, they had mocked me, tossed my gift in the trash. Now, after the magazine, after the orders, suddenly I was worth inviting. I went. When I walked into their dining room, I noticed at once, on Grace's wrist, was one of my bracelets. Not the one she'd thrown away, but a new one, bought from my shop. She kept tugging at her sleeve, trying to hide it, but it was there. Rebecca leaned in, her smile too wide. Mom, it's so wonderful what you've done. Everyone in town is talking about Linda's hands. We're proud of you. I met her eyes. Proud, or just surprised I wasn't as small as you thought? Her smile faltered. Dinner dragged on with forced laughter. Grace avoided my gaze, pushing food around her plate. Finally, Rebecca cleared her throat. Mom, with all this success, maybe you could help Grace. College applications, expenses, you know how it is. I set down my fork, my voice steady. I offered Grace something once, a gift from my hands, from my heart. She called it cheap. She laughed, and you laughed with her. So no, Rebecca, I don't owe her anything, not $1. The room went cold. Rebecca's face hardened. Grace's eyes filled with tears, though she said nothing. I stood, gathering my purse. You taught her to mock me. Now she'll learn another lesson. Actions have consequences. I left them sitting in their perfect dining room, plates untouched, silence thick. For once, I was the one walking away, head held high. Rebecca set the dinner table like it was a stage. She smiled too brightly when I arrived. Mom, we're so glad you came. Everyone's talking about your business. You must be proud. I sat down slowly. I'm proud. Surprised you are. Her smile cracked. Grace tugged at her sleeve, but I caught the flash of a bracelet. Mine. One she must have bought in secret. I leaned forward. Interesting choice, Grace. Didn't you once say my work looked cheap? Her cheeks burned. I didn't mean it like that. Rebecca cut in fast. Mom, she was just young, thoughtless. We all say things we regret. She paused, lowering her voice. But with your success, maybe you could help Grace a little. College isn't cheap. I set down my fork. The room went still. No, Rebecca, I gave Grace a gift from my heart and you both laughed at me. You tossed it in the trash. Now you want money? Respect doesn't work that way. Rebecca's jaw tightened. Mom, I raised my hand. Stop. You taught her to mock me. Now she'll live with the lesson. When you treat love like garbage, don't expect it to pay your bills. I stood, grabbed my purse, and walked to the door. Behind me, silence. No laughter this time. No smirks. Just the weight of their own choices closing in. The next weekend, I set up my table at the market as usual. Customers gathered, chatting, laughing, slipping bracelets over their wrists. For the first time in months, I felt light. Not because of the sales, not because of the magazine, because I finally understood. I had spent years letting my family decide my worth. One word from Rebecca, one laugh from Grace, and I believed I was nothing. But the truth was simple. My value had never depended on them. A woman leaned across the table. These are beautiful. My daughter insists yours are the only ones she'll wear now. I smiled. Tell her thank you. That means more than she knows. As I packed up that afternoon, I thought back to Grace's words. This handmade gift looks so cheap, I whispered to myself, steady and clear. Cheap to them, priceless to me. And this time, the truth stayed with me. So I kept building, not for Rebecca, not for Grace, for me, for every stitch and bead that carried my story. To my listeners, if this story touched you, don't forget to subscribe and share your thoughts in the comments. Your voice matters, just like Linda's.